Well, we've heard the rumors and assumptions to what the 49ers could be doing with the third overall pick, so we just had to call in the big guns to get a little bit more clarity. NFL Network's insider Ian Rapoport joining us. Now, before pinning a prospect to the 49ers, let's talk about who could potentially be available at third overall. When you look at this draft and the potential for quarterbacks to go back to back off of the board, what do you take away from this year's quarterback class?
Yeah, I think the main thing for me is the 49ers are going to have the opportunity to take the third, not only the third best player, but it's going to end up being the third best quarterback. Now, I don't know third best as far as how they're going to do in the career, but just based on the way that the draft is expected to go. I think everyone expects Trevor Lawrence to be number one. Everyone expects Zach Wilson of BYU to be number two. And then if you're the 49ers, you made this trade saying, all right, we may not be finished with our evaluation, but we are confident that whoever we come up with as our pick at number three is going to be worth all these selections that we traded away. And, for the 49ers, like the hope is, and I know they've very publicly said that they're not trading Jimmy Garoppolo this season. The hope is that you come up with your starter for the next 10 years after this. So, what would be a win? I would say it'd be a starter who is good enough to where you'd say, I don't care about the first round draft picks that I traded because this guy, my starter, is worth it. And that's a reality. I mean, there's a lot of reasons to have first round picks. The most important reason is to use it to get a starting quarterback. If that's what this ends up with, the 49ers have been absolutely fine.
So several quarterbacks have had their pro days, multiple pro days at that. The 49ers were on hand for a few of those private workouts. But how much in your eyes can you take away from these tailored pro days compared to just watching film of some of these guys? And also, how much truly transfers to what you can see on the field?
Well, from what I understand about the Trey Lance pro day, which was Monday, and the 49ers brass, John Lynch, Kyle Shanahan were there, the plan was, at least, for them to say to Trey Lance, here's what we do. Here's a throw we would make. Here's an action we would make. Can we see you do it? And I think one thing with COVID knocking out all of these private workouts is teams don't get the opportunity to say, we're going to put you on a field. You're going to make 45 throws that we do. You're going to run 45 of our plays. They don't get a chance to do that. So, at the end of Lance's pro day, what was supposed to happen was the 49ers, maybe some others, we're going to ask him, just show us some stuff that we do. It's not perfect. It's not as thorough an evaluation as, you usually get, but everyone's on the same playing field, so it's fine. I think the only thing, if you're the 49ers and really anyone else in the quarterback business, the only thing you really care about is you do everything in your power, exhaust every resource to uncover everything you possibly can about this prospect and make the best decision you can.
You talked about Trey Lance's pro day on Monday, but now that the 49ers have had the chance to see all of these quarterbacks up close and in person, how much clearer do you think this picture has gotten for San Francisco in this final week heading to the draft?
I would say after they get finished kind of digesting this, they should probably get close to knowing. I mean, my understanding was there was a leader in the clubhouse, and this process has been about making absolutely sure that everyone is consistently on board with that this is the guy, right? And so they really should know probably pretty surely, is this the guy? And I think what, the 49ers are going to spend the next, say, 9 days doing is getting 100% sure.
Each of these quarterbacks that are likely to be available, they have different skill sets. You have your classic pocket passer, you have your athletic quarterback. Kyle Shanahan seems to have a type, but in your mind, given the opportunity to handpick your quarterback, do you see Kyle Shanahan and co looking for that perfect fit for their offense, or maybe going that route that we saw the Chiefs do with Patrick Mahomes and adjusting your offense to your quarterback?
Yeah, I don't know that Kyle Shanahan has a type, because people talk all the time about, this guy's good for the 49ers style of offense, for instance, or this guy's not good. Kyle Shanahan at each different job has inherited a quarterback, right? It's been, Kirk Cousins, who I think everyone knows Shanahan has an affinity for. It's been Matt Ryan. It's, it's been obviously Jimmy Garoppolo, but this is kind of the first time he gets to pick. And so we'll know a little bit more about what Shanahan looks for in a quarterback, because now, him and John Lynch really are getting the opportunity to pick one. what I would say this though, we can talk about different characteristics and 40 time and mobility and everything. Finding someone who is extremely smart, with a great mind, someone who can match Kyle's wits, I think is essential to this quarterback pick, regardless of what other physical attributes there are.
Skill set wise, Ian Rapoport, I'm going to have you be our GM of this call. Which quarterback option makes the most sense for this team with the pieces that they have in place ready to go?
I will leave the analysis, the sort of personnel analysis to the experts. Based on the people that I'm speaking with, the other NFL teams right around that spot, teams who think they know, I would say most people believe that Mac Jones is the guy, mostly because he's got a photographic memory, and they think the Shanahan love for Mac Jones has not exactly been hidden. If they take someone else, it would be a nice surprise, or just a surprise to a lot of people. But it certainly does seem like publicly Mac Jones is the guy that many people believe the 49ers are taking.
All right, and I can't let you go without talking really briefly about the 49ers offseason. The team managed to retain some key pieces and fill some holes outside of the organization as well. But what was the biggest and most crucial move for this team in your eyes this offseason?
Trent Williams, no doubt about it. I wish it hadn't happened at 2:43 in the morning Eastern time, so I could have been on TV to talk about it. But it was, to me, quarterback is important. Obviously, we've talked all about that. The next is left tackle, and he was such a revelation. He came on so well last year after a season away. He was everything the 49ers wanted. He was a Pro Bowler. He was awesome. And I think the salary, especially first 3 years, it's a lot, but it's reasonable for someone of his talents. There was a battle, an epic battle, I would say, to get that thing done. They did a great job doing it. And I would say that was, to me, the most essential one, no doubt about it.
Left tackle in place, their center, fullback as well, retain key pieces on defense. But heading into next week's draft, quarterback aside, what do you see as San Francisco's biggest need that they can hit on pretty early in the draft?
Quarterback of the future, yes, you could sort of consider that a need, but I don't know that they need anything. I mean, maybe, another corner would help. Maybe, you sort of like an extra receiver, maybe a running back in the late rounds, an extra sort of interior, and maybe an interior player on offense. They don't need anything, which is, I think, a really good place to be.
A nice luxury for the 49ers heading into the draft. You can catch more insight from Ian as NFL Network provides live coverage of the 2021 NFL Draft from Cleveland, April 29th to May 1st. You can also follow him on Twitter at RapSheet, because I sure do. That's how I keep my updates available. But Ian, thanks for stopping by. I appreciate having you.
All right. Thanks for having me.